The morning sun rose over the green fields of New Busan. It was a beautiful colony world at the edge of human space. 12,000 people lived there. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, and children. They grew food for other colonies. They lived simple and peaceful lives. Kong Tae-ho woke up early that morning. He was 62 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had served in the Earth Navy for 30 years before retiring to this quiet world. His wife had died 5 years ago. Now he lived with his 2 children. His son June was 12. His daughter Sora was 17. They were everything to him. "Father, breakfast is ready," Sora called from the kitchen. Tae-ho smiled and walked to the table. June was already eating. The boy had rice on his chin. Sora laughed and wiped it off. These small moments were precious to Tae-ho. After all the battles he had seen, his peace was his reward. He never knew it would be his last peaceful morning. At exactly 9 o'clock, the sky turned red. Strange ships appeared above the colony. They were huge and covered with dark metal. They did not look like any human ship. They did not look like any ship from friendly alien species. Park Yuna, the colony's defense coordinator, sent an alert to all citizens. Unknown vessels in orbit. All civilians moved to shelters immediately. Yuna was a former Navy pilot. She was strong and brave. She ran to the defense center and tried to activate the orbital guns. But something was wrong. The weapons did not respond. The enemy had already disabled them with some kind of signal. "We have no weapons," she said into her radio. "I repeat, we have no orbital defense." The enemy ships began landing. Thousands of soldiers poured out. They were tall creatures with green scales and yellow eyes. They had 4 arms and carried plasma rifles. These were the Valkyrie. They were known across the galaxy as raiders and slavers. They attacked weak species and took whatever they wanted. Commander Torak led the attack. He was the largest Valkyrie, standing 3 meters tall. He looked at the human colony with contempt. To him, humans were just another weak species. Easy prey. Easy slaves. "Kill the ones who fight," Torak ordered. "Capture the young and healthy ones. Burn everything else." The massacre began. Tae-ho heard the explosions from his farm. He grabbed his old military rifle from the closet. It was outdated but still worked. He told Sora and June to hide in the basement. "Stay here," he said. "Do not come out until I return." "Father, please be careful," Sora begged. Tears ran down her face. Tae-ho kissed both his children on the forehead. Then he ran outside to fight. The scene in the colony center was horror. Buildings burned. Bodies lay in the streets. Valkyrie soldiers dragged screaming people toward their ships. Tae-ho joined a group of other colonists who were fighting back. Yuna was leading them. "We cannot win this," Yuna shouted. "But we can slow them down." By time for the distress signal, young Li Huan was hiding in the communications building. He was an engineer, not a soldier. His hands shook with fear, but he knew what he had to do. He worked desperately to send a message to Earth. The main antenna was destroyed, but he found a backup system. "Shh, come on," he whispered. Finally, the signal went through. He recorded everything. The attack, the dead, the Valkyrie ships. He sent it all to Earth's military network. Then a plasma blast hit the building. Juan barely escaped with his life. Shin Nari was the colony's medical officer. She was a small woman with gentle hands. Those hands now held a camera instead of medical tools. She recorded the atrocities. Every death. Every captured child. Every Valkyrie face. This evidence would matter later. She did not know how much. The battle lasted 3 hours. It was not really a battle. It was a slaughter. The colonists had hunting rifles and farming tools. The Valkyrie had military weapons and armor. 4,000 people died that day. 200 were captured and dragged onto the ships. The rest fled into the forests and mountains. Tae-ho fought until his rifle ran out of ammunition. Then he fought with his hands. A Valkyrie soldier hit him in the head. He fell unconscious. When he woke up, the enemy was gone. The colony was burning. He stumbled through the ruins, calling for his children. Sora. June. He found the basement. The door was broken. Inside, he found June. The boy was dead. A plasma burn had torn through his small body. He must have tried to protect his sister. Taeho held his son and screamed. The sound was not human. It was the sound of a heart breaking completely. Sora was gone. The Valkyrie had taken her. Yuna found Taeho sitting in the ashes, holding June's body. She had wounds all over her. Half her people were dead, but she was still standing. They took my daughter, Taeho said. His voice was empty. They took 200 of us, Yuna replied. Children, young women, strong men. They took them as slaves. Where did they go? Valkyrie space. Far from here. The Council controls that region. They will protect the Valkyrie from us. Taeho said nothing. He just stared at the sky where the enemy ships had vanished. Later, survivors gathered in the ruins. Nari showed them her recordings. Chuan confirmed that Earth had received the distress signal. Help would come. But it would come too late for the dead. Too late for the captured. Commander Torak had left a message before departing. His face appeared on every screen in the colony. He was laughing. Humans, he said. You are soft. You are weak. You will cry for a few days. Then you will forget. Your kind always forgets. You do not have the strength to come after us. You do not have the will. Enjoy your grief. It is all you will ever have. The message ended. Many survivors wept. Some cursed. Some just sat in silence. Tae-Ho stood up slowly. He was covered in blood and ash. His body was broken. But his eyes were alive with something terrible. Something cold. Something patient. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, his daughter was a prisoner. Somewhere out there, Torak was laughing. The alien thought humans would forget. The alien thought humans would move on. The alien was wrong. I will find you, Taeho whispered. His voice was calm, almost peaceful. That made it more frightening. Across every star. Through every year, I will find every one of you. And I will make you remember what you did here today. The wind blew ash across the ruined colony. The dead lay unburied. The fires still burned. And in the heart of one old man, a promise was born. A promise that would chase the Valkyrie across the galaxy. A promise that would teach the universe a simple truth about humanity. They do not forget. They do not forgive. And they never, ever stop. 3 weeks after the massacre, Ambassador Beak Gina stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was enormous. It floated in space on a station called Apex Prime. 12 ancient species sat in a circle of tall chairs. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They made laws. They kept peace. They decided who was important and who was not. Humans were not important. Not yet. Gina was a small woman with black hair tied back tightly. She wore a simple gray suit. She had no weapons. She had no army behind her. She only had words and evidence. She hoped it would be enough. Council members, she began. Her voice was steady. 3 weeks ago, a Valkyrie fleet attacked our colony of New Busan. 4,000 of our people were killed. 200 were taken as slaves. I am here to present evidence and request authorization to pursue the attackers into Valkyrie space. She pressed a button. Holograms appeared in the center of the chamber. Images of burning buildings. Bodies in the streets. Valkyrie soldiers dragging children toward ships. Nera's recordings played for all to see. The evidence was clear. The crime was obvious. Elder Moroth watched with his many eyes. He was an insectoid creature, ancient and patient. He had led the council for 600 years. He valued stability above all else. Wars were bad for stability. Justice was less important than peace. We have seen the evidence, Moroth said. His voice clicked and buzzed. It is regrettable. However, the Valkyrie representative wishes to speak. Ventorak rose from his seat. He was the brother of Commander Torak. He had the same cold yellow eyes, the same arrogant smile. He wore expensive robes and spoke with smooth words. The Valkyrie Empire denies these accusations, Ven said. We have no knowledge of any attack on human territory. These recordings could be fabricated. Humans are new to the galaxy. They do not understand our ways. Perhaps they are simply confused. Gina felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept her face calm. Diplomats did not show emotion. Diplomats stayed controlled. We have genetic evidence, she said. Valkyrie blood and scales found at the attack site. We have identified the ships from their energy signatures. We have survivor testimonies from 300 witnesses. The evidence is not fabricated. Perhaps Vin replied with a smile, but the Council has no authority over internal Valkyrie matters. If some individuals acted without orders, that is our problem to solve, not yours. Admiral Ode Sung sat behind Gina. He was the commander of Earth's 7th Fleet. He was a tall man with a scarred face and white hair. He had fought in 3 wars during his career. He knew how politics worked. He also knew when politics failed, the Council voted. 9 species voted against authorizing human military action. Only 3 voted in favor. The motion failed. Humanity would receive no help. Humanity would receive no justice. The Council recommends that humanity accepts compensation and move forward, Elder Moroth announced. Dwelling on past injuries serves no purpose. The galaxy must maintain peace. Gina stood very still. She looked at each council member in turn. Then she spoke. How much compensation for 4,000 lives? How much for the children taken as slaves? Tell me the price, Elder Moroth. I am curious what value you place on human beings. The chamber went silent. No one had spoken to Moroth that way in centuries. Ambassador Beak, Moroth said slowly. Your species is young. You have been part of the galactic community for only 80 years. You do not understand how things work. The Valkyrie are powerful. They have allies. A war with them would destabilize the entire region. Surely a few thousand lives are not worth such chaos. A few thousand, Gina repeated. I see. She gathered her documents. The meeting was over. There was nothing more to say here. After the session, Gina walked through the station's corridors. Admiral Lowe walked beside her. Neither spoke. What was there to say? The galaxy had abandoned them. The Council had chosen peace over justice. Humanity was alone. Footsteps approached from behind. Ventorak appeared with 2 guards. He was smiling that same cruel smile. Ambassador, he called. Do not feel too sad. Your kind bleeds and forgets. In a generation, you will not even remember this colony's name. It is the way of weak species. You cry, then you move on. Gina stopped walking. She turned to face him. Her eyes were cold and dark. You've made a terrible mistake, she said quietly. Ven laughed. Is that a threat? From a species that cannot even protect one small colony? How amusing. It is not a threat. It is a fact. You believe we will forget. You believe we will accept this and move on. You are wrong. Every human child will learn about New Busan. Every human adult will remember the names of the dead. We do not forget, Ambassador Ven. We never forget. She turned and walked away. Ven watched her go, still smiling. He did not believe her. Why would he? Every other species eventually accepted their losses. Every other species chose peace over endless conflict. Humans would be the same. He was so very wrong. That night, Admiral O received an encrypted message from Earth Command. He read it in his private quarters. His old face showed no emotion, but his hands trembled slightly. The message was simple. Operation Long Memory was authorized. Full resources approved. No time limit. No geographic restrictions. Humanity would hunt the attackers of New Busan, with or without council approval. The politicians had made their decision. Now the military would make theirs? Oh, sent a single reply. Understood. Beginning preparations? Before leaving Apex Prime, Gina was approached by a small alien. He was a Rithani, a species known for studying other cultures. He had purple skin and large eyes that saw everything. "Ambassador Beak," he said quietly. "May I speak with you privately?" Gina nodded. They stepped into an empty room. "I have studied human history," the Rithani said. "I know things about your species that the Council does not understand. I know about your wars, your long memories, your terrible patience. What is your point?" "My point is this. The Valkyrie believe you will forget. The Council believes you will accept. They are all wrong. I have read about your world wars, your century-long conflicts, your blood feuds that lasted generations. Humans do not forget injuries. Humans pursue enemies across oceans in years and lifetimes." Gina said nothing. She just watched him. "The Valkyrie do not understand what they have awakened," the Rithani continued. "They think this is over. But this is only the beginning. I wanted you to know that at least one species in this galaxy understands." Gina finally allowed herself a small, cold smile. "Thank you," she said. "You are correct. This is only the beginning. The Valkyrie will learn what it means to make enemies of humans, and the Council will learn what it means to ignore us." She shook the Rithani's hand and walked to her ship. Behind her, the great station of Apex Prime floated in the darkness. The Council thought they had closed the matter. The Valkyrie thought they had escaped justice. They were all about to learn a very important lesson about humanity. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy. They were not the oldest or the wisest. But they had one quality that made them dangerous beyond measure. They never stopped. Once wronged, they would pursue justice across any distance and through any amount of time. They would spend treasure and blood and years without end. They would chase their enemies to the edge of the universe, if necessary. The hunt was about to begin, and it would not end until every debt was paid in full. 18 months passed after the massacre. The galaxy expected humans to give up. They expected humans to accept their loss and move on like every other species. They expected the anger to fade and the grief to soften. They were wrong about all of it. Captain Yoon Jin-ae stood on the bridge of her ship, Silent Oath. It was a stealth cruiser, painted black, designed to move through space without being seen. Jin-ae was 38 years old, with short hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded ships for 15 years, but this mission was different from anything she had done before. "Report," she said calmly. "We have tracked the convoy to Sector 7, her navigator replied. 3 Valkyrie transport ships. Light escort only." Jin-ae nodded. This convoy carried supplies to Valkyrie military outposts. More importantly, it carried information. Every Valkyrie ship had records. Records of troop movements. Records of prisoner locations. Records that could lead humanity closer to Commander Torak. Prepare to intercept. No survivors who resist. But I want prisoners who can talk. The Silent Oath moved through the darkness like a ghost. The Valkyrie never saw it coming. Within minutes, 2 transport ships were disabled. The third tried to run, but was caught by a missile that destroyed its engines. Jin-ae's Marines boarded the crippled vessels. The fighting was short and brutal. When it was over, Jin-ae had 17 Valkyrie prisoners and thousands of data files. She sat in the interrogation room across from a Valkyrie officer. The alien looked at her with hatred. "You cannot do this," the officer hissed. "The Council forbids human military action in our space. You are criminals." Jin-ae smiled. It was not a warm smile. "The Council also forbids slavery and massacre. Yet your people did both. We have decided that Council rules no longer apply to us. Now tell me where Commander Torak is hiding." "I'll tell you nothing. Then you will stay in our prison until you change your mind. We are patient. We have time." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out every week. Human ships appeared from nowhere. They struck Valkyrie targets and vanished. They freed prisoners. They captured officers. They gathered intelligence. Slowly, piece by piece. They built a picture of where Torak's fleet was hiding. Sergeant Chosun Cho led a special forces team. He was 30 years old, with cold eyes and steady hands. He had been on New Busan during the attack. He had watched friends die. He had sworn an oath to make the Velkhari pay. Now he was keeping that oath. His team landed on a Velkhari outpost at midnight. They moved through the base like shadows. Guards died silently, one by one. Sunghal reached the prisoner cells and found 43 humans locked inside. They were thin and weak from months of slavery. But they were alive. "We are here to take you home," Sungho said. A young woman grabbed his arm. Her eyes were desperate. "There are more of us. On other worlds. Please, you have to find them." "We will," Sungho promised. "We will find every one." He searched the faces of the freed prisoners. He was looking for one face in particular. Kong Sora, the daughter of the old soldier Taeho. She was not there. "Keep searching," Sungho told his team. "She is out there somewhere." Taeho himself had refused to stay behind. Despite his age and injuries, he had joined a volunteer tracking unit. He worked with intelligence officers, studying reports, analyzing data, searching for any clue about his daughter's location. He slept only a few hours each night. He ate only when others forced him to. His body grew weaker, but his will never wavered. "You should rest," a young officer told him one night. Taeho shook his head. "I will rest when my daughter is safe, not before." The officer looked at the old man with respect. This was what humans did. They did not surrender. They did not accept. They kept fighting until the fight was won or they were dead. The Valkyrie began to notice that something was wrong. Ships disappeared. Outposts went silent. Officers vanished without trace. Then bodies were found. Sometimes just one. Sometimes dozens. Always with a message left behind: "We remember New Busan." The words appeared everywhere. Painted on walls. Carved into metal. Burned into the ground. The Valkyrie had never seen anything like it. Other species gave up after a few months. Other species accepted their losses and moved on. But humans just kept coming. A Lythran information broker named Rin made a fortune selling secrets to the humans. She was a small creature with silver fur and clever eyes. She had no loyalty to anyone. But she respected the humans for their determination. "The Valkyrie are afraid," she told Jin'ei during one of their meetings. "They do not understand why you will not stop. They think you are crazy." "We are not crazy," Jin'ei replied. "We are just different. When someone hurts us, we do not forget. We do not forgive. We make them pay, even if it takes years. Even if it takes generations." Rin shook her head in wonder. "I have lived a long time. I have seen many species. None of them are like you. The Valkyrie made a terrible mistake when they attacked your colony." "Yes," Jin'ei agreed. "They did. By the end of 18 months, humanity had killed or captured 17 of Torak's captains. Every one of them had been involved in the New Busan attack. The Valkyrie High Command began to panic. They sent messages to the Galactic Council demanding intervention. The Council sent warnings to Earth. Earth ignored them. "You must stop this aggression," Elder Moreth announced in a public broadcast. "The Council will impose sanctions on human trade if this continues." Ambassador Gina responded calmly. "The Council can impose whatever sanctions it wishes. We will not stop until every attacker is brought to justice. If that takes 1 year or 100 years, we will continue. This is not aggression. This is justice." Commander Torak watched these broadcasts from his hidden fortress. For the first time, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear. He had attacked hundreds of species during his career. None of them had ever pursued him like this. None of them had ever refused to give up. "They will tire," he told his officers. "All species tire eventually." One of his captains, newly escaped from a destroyed outpost, shook his head. "Commander, in 18 months, they have killed 17 of our leaders. They have freed over 300 prisoners. They have destroyed 40 ships. They are not tiring. They are getting stronger. They are getting closer." Torak slammed his fist on the table. "Then we will hide deeper. We will move to the edge of Velkhari space. They cannot follow us forever." "With respect, Commander," the captain said quietly, "I think they can." Torak stared at him with yellow eyes full of anger. But deep inside, a small voice whispered that the captain might be right. These humans were not like other species. They did not follow the normal rules. They did not behave rationally. They just kept coming. Day after day. Month after month. Patient and relentless. And somewhere in the darkness of space, human ships continued their hunt. They were closer now. Closer to Torak. Closer to the remaining prisoners. Closer to the justice that had been denied at the Galactic Council. The hunt was far from over. In truth, it was just beginning. 3 years had passed since the massacre at New Busan, 3 years of hunting, 3 years of patience, 3 years that had changed the galaxy's understanding of humanity forever. The pursuit had become legendary. Stories spread from planet to planet, species to species. The humans who never stopped. The ships that appeared from nowhere. The messages written in blood and fire. We remember New Busan. Every creature in the galaxy now knew those words. The Galactic Council had tried everything to stop the humans. They issued condemnations. They imposed trade sanctions. They threatened military intervention. Nothing worked. Humanity simply ignored them and continued the hunt. Minister Quan Yunbai coordinated the long campaign from Earth. She was 50 years old, with gray-streaked hair and the tired eyes of someone who carried heavy burdens. Every day she reviewed reports. Every day she approved operations. Every day she answered the same question from foreign diplomats. When will you stop? Her answer was always the same. When the last attacker is captured, when the last prisoner is freed, when justice is complete. Dr. Han Yuri advised the military on Velkari psychology. She had studied them for years. She understood how they thought, and she understood why they were breaking. They have never faced an enemy like humanity, Yuri explained to the commanders. The Velkari believe in strength. They believe the strong take what they want and the weak accept it. They cannot understand a species that will spend 3 years pursuing justice for one colony. It goes against everything they believe. Will they surrender? Admiral O asked. Eventually, when they realize we will never stop, the question is how much longer it will take. On the edge of Velkari space, Captain Janae received new intelligence. Her contact Rin had finally discovered what they had been searching for. The location of the main prisoner facility, the place where the remaining New Busan captives were being held. It is heavily defended, Rin warned. Torak knows you are looking for these prisoners. He is using them as bait. He hopes you will attack and lose. We will attack, Janae said, but we will not lose. The human fleet gathered in secret. 12 ships. 3,000 soldiers. The largest operation since the hunt began. Ambassador Gina addressed the galaxy in a broadcast that reached every inhabited world. To the Galactic Council. To the Velkari Empire. To every species watching. We did not start this conflict, but we will finish it. Not in a year. Not in 10 years. However long it takes. Our people were killed and enslaved. We will bring them home. Every single one. The broadcast ended. The fleet moved toward its target. Kong Taeho was among the soldiers. He was 65 now. His hair was completely white. His body was weak from years of stress and little sleep. The doctors had told him he should not go. His heart was failing. The mission might kill him. I do not care, he told them. My daughter is on that planet. I will be there when she is freed. Sergeant Sung-ho tried to convince him to stay behind. You have done enough. Let us bring her home to you. Taeho grabbed Sung-ho's arm with surprising strength. I promised her. When she was a child, I promised I would always protect her. I failed when the Velkari came. I will not fail again. I will be there. Sunho saw the fire in the old man's eyes. He understood. Some promises were worth dying for. The attack began at dawn. Human ships emerged from hyperspace and engaged the Velkari defenders. The battle was fierce. Velkari reinforcements arrived quickly, but Janae had planned for everything. Decoy ships drew the reinforcements away while the main force struck the prison facility. Sung-ho led the ground assault. His team cut through the outer defenses and fought their way into the prison. The corridors were narrow and dark. Velkari guards attacked from every direction. Men died on both sides. But the humans kept pushing forward. Tejo followed close behind the assault team. He carried a rifle, but could barely lift it. His breath came in short gasps. His heart beat irregularly. None of it mattered. Only one thing mattered. They reached the prisoner cells. Songho's team broke down the doors one by one. Humans stumbled out, blinking in the light, thin, scarred, broken, but alive. Tae-Ho searched every face. Where was she? Where was his daughter? Then he saw her. In the last cell. Sitting in the corner with her arms wrapped around her knees. She was 20 now. Her face was thin and her eyes were hollow. But she was alive. She was alive, Sora, he whispered. She looked up. Her eyes went wide. Father. Tejo stumbled into the cell and fell to his knees beside her. He wrapped his arms around her and held her tight. Tears streamed down his face. 3 years. 3 years of searching. 3 years of never giving up. And now she was in his arms again. I found you, he said. I promised I would find you. I knew you would come, Sora cried. They told me no one was coming. They told me humanity had forgotten us. But I knew you would never forget. Never, Tejo agreed. Never. The battle continued outside. Sungho organized the evacuation. Prisoners were loaded onto ships. The Velkari counterattack was growing stronger. They needed to leave immediately. We have to go, Sungho said gently. Can you walk? Sora nodded. She helped her father stand. But Tejo stumbled. His face was pale. His hand pressed against his chest. Father. Tejo smiled at her. I am fine. Just tired. Very tired. They made it to the evacuation ship. The doors closed. The ship lifted off under heavy fire. Tejo sat against the wall with Sora beside him. He held her hand and looked at her face. His little girl, safe at last. I am sorry, he said softly. I am sorry I could not save your brother. It was not your fault. None of it was your fault. I want you to live a good life. A happy life. Do not spend your years in anger like I did. Promise me. Father, stop talking like that. We are going home. Everything will be fine. Tejo smiled again. His grip on her hand was growing weaker. I am going home too. Your mother is waiting for me? In June? No, Father, please. I love you, Sora. I have always loved you. I held on just long enough to see you free. Now I can rest. His eyes closed. His breathing slowed. His hand went limp in hers. Father. Father, Sungho knelt beside them. He checked Teo's pulse. Then he looked at Sora with sad eyes. He's gone. His heart finally gave out, but he died at peace. He died knowing you were safe. Sora held her father's body and wept. Around her, other freed prisoners wept too. For joy, for sorrow. For everything they had lost and everything they had survived, the ship flew toward friendly space. Behind them, the prison facility burned. 112 prisoners had been rescued, the largest liberation since the hunt began. But the hunt was not over. Commander Torax still lived. He had escaped again, fleeing deeper into the darkness, and humanity would follow. Elder Morith of the Galactic Council sent a private message to Ambassador Gina. You have made your point. The galaxy fears you now. Will you stop? Gina's reply was simple. Not until Torak faces justice. Not until every attacker answers for their crimes. We do not make points, Elder Morith. We keep promises. On a distant planet, a memorial service was held for Kong Taho. His body was buried beside his wife and son. Sora stood at his grave and made her own promise. I will not live in anger, Father, but I will not let your sacrifice be forgotten. I will make sure the galaxy remembers what humanity does for its people. The hunt continued. Torak was running out of places to hide, and humanity was getting closer every day. For years after the massacre at New Busan, the hunt finally reached its end. Commander Torek had run out of places to hide. His fleet was destroyed. His officers were dead or captured. His empire had abandoned him. The Velkari High Command had decided he was too dangerous to protect. Human anger was costing them too much. Trade routes were disrupted. Allies were nervous. The entire economy was suffering because of one raid 4 years ago. Torak hid on Vareth 7, an ice moon at the edge of known space. His fortress was buried deep under the frozen surface. He had 300 soldiers left. He thought it was enough. He thought the humans would never find him here. He was wrong. Captain Jinne stood on the bridge of the Silent Oath, watching the ice moon grow larger on her screens. Her fleet had traveled for weeks to reach this place. 20 ships, 5,000 soldiers, everything they needed to finish what had started 4 years ago. Final intelligence report, she ordered.
How?
300 enemy soldiers. Heavy defensive guns around the main entrance. Underground tunnels connect the fortress to emergency escape routes. We have mapped them all. Jinne nodded. Block the escape routes first, then begin the assault. I want Torak alive. He will face trial for his crimes. Understood, Captain? The attack began at dawn, though on this frozen moon there was no real dawn. Just endless gray twilight. Human ships descended through the thin atmosphere. Missiles struck the defensive guns. Marines landed on the ice and moved toward the fortress entrance. Sergeant Sung-ho led the assault team. He had waited for years for this moment. For years of hunting. For years of watching friends die. For years of freeing prisoners and gathering evidence. Now it was finally time to end it. Forward, he commanded. Take no unnecessary risks. Our mission is to capture Torak. Everything else is secondary. The battle was fierce. Velkari soldiers fought desperately to protect their commander. They knew what awaited them if they were captured. Human justice was not gentle to those who had murdered children and enslaved innocents. But determination could not overcome superior numbers, and planning human soldiers pushed through the outer defenses. They fought through corridors carved from ice and metal. Bodies fell on both sides. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the frozen tunnels. Torak watched the battle from his command center. For the first time in his long life, he felt true fear. Not fear of death. Fear of something worse. Fear of being captured. Fear of facing the families of his victims. Fear of a trial where his crimes would be read aloud for the entire galaxy to hear. You must escape, he told his last guards. There is a hidden tunnel the humans do not know about. He was wrong about that too. Jinne had spent months studying this fortress. She knew every tunnel, every door, every possible escape route. Human ships waited at every exit. There was nowhere to run. Torak reached the hidden tunnel and found it blocked by human soldiers. He turned back and found more soldiers behind him. He was trapped, surrounded, finished. Sung-ho stepped forward. His rifle was aimed at Torak's chest. Commander Torak, he said, you are under arrest for the murder of 4,000 civilians, the enslavement of 200 prisoners, and crimes against humanity. You will be taken to Earth for trial. If you resist, you will be killed. The choice is yours. Torak stared at the human with disbelief. This small creature, this fragile being. How had his kind caused so much destruction? How had they chased him across the galaxy for 4 years? Why? Torak demanded. Why did you not give up? Any other species would have accepted their loss and moved on. Why did you waste 4 years for one colony? Sung-ho's eyes were cold as ice. You took 4,000 lives. We remember every name. We remember every face. We remember every child who never grew up, and every parent who died protecting their family. That is why we did not give up. That is why we will never give up. Because we remember. Torak dropped his weapon. There was nothing left to fight for. I surrender, he said quietly. Human soldiers bound his hands and led him away. The fortress was secured. The last Velkari soldier surrendered. After 4 years, the hunt was finally over. The trial was held on Earth, in a great hall that was broadcast to every inhabited world. Billions of beings watched as Commander Torak was brought before human judges. Ambassador Gina presented the evidence: recordings of the massacre, testimonies from survivors, lists of the dead, lists of the enslaved. 4 years of evidence gathered through blood and sacrifice. Torak said nothing in his defense. What could he say? The evidence was overwhelming. His guilt was absolute. The judges delivered their verdict: guilty on all charges. The sentence was life imprisonment on a human prison world, not death. Humans did not believe in killing prisoners. They believed in justice. And justice meant Torak would spend the rest of his long life remembering what he had done. The Valkyrie Empire formally surrendered. They released all remaining human prisoners. They paid reparations to the families of victims. They signed treaties promising to never attack human settlements again. The Galactic Council quietly updated its database with new information about humanity. The entry was classified at the highest level, but its content spread throughout the galaxy anyway. Human threat assessment: extreme. Human species displays unprecedented persistence in response to perceived injustice. They do not accept losses. They do not forgive attacks. They will pursue offenders across any distance and for any length of time, regardless of cost. Recommend avoiding hostile engagement under all circumstances. Elder Marath read this assessment in his private chambers. For the first time in 600 years, he felt something like regret. He had dismissed the humans 4 years ago. He had called their colony a minor incident. He had been so very wrong. Source stood at the memorial on New Busan. The colony had been rebuilt. New families lived there now. New children played in the fields where bodies had once fallen. Life continued. But the past was not forgotten. A wall of names stretched across the central square. 4,000 names carved in black stone. Among them were her mother, her brother, and now her father. She touched their names gently. "It is done," she whispered. "Torak is captured. Justice is served. You can rest now." She turned to face the gathered crowd: survivors, soldiers, reporters from across the galaxy. She was no longer the frightened girl who had been dragged onto a slave ship. She was a woman now. An ambassador, a symbol of human resilience. "Today we remember," she said. "We remember those who died. We remember those who fought. We remember those who never gave up. Let this memorial stand as a message to the galaxy. Humanity does not forget its people. Humanity does not abandon its children. If you harm us, we will find you. No matter how far you run, no matter how long it takes, we will find you." Far away in a quiet office on Apex Prime, a young Rafani diplomat read the updated council files on humanity. He had just started his career. He had much to learn about the galaxy and its many species. One passage was highlighted in the human file. He read it carefully. Humans do not conquer for expansion. They do not raid for resources. But if attacked, they will pursue the offender across any distance, for any length of time, at any cost. They do not forgive. They do not forget. The Galactic Council advises all species: never assault humans. They will pursue you forever. The young diplomat closed the file and leaned back in his chair. He thought about the Valkyrie, once so proud and powerful, now humiliated and defeated by a species they had considered weak. They warned them, he whispered to himself. They warned them, and they did not listen. Outside his window, the stars shone cold and bright. Somewhere among them, human ships continued their patrols, protecting their colonies, watching for threats, ready to hunt anyone foolish enough to harm their people. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the oldest or the most advanced. But they had something that made them more dangerous than any other. They had memory. They had patience. They had an unbreakable will to pursue justice, no matter the cost, and they never, ever stopped. The lesson was simple. The lesson was clear. Every species in the galaxy now knew it by heart. Never assault humans. They will pursue you forever.